Hi, my name is Keri Barnum. I am the Executive Director of New Shelves Books, and I am here for Free Advice Friday, the hour every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We get together, we talk about publishing, writing, industry news, and we take questions live. Feel free to join us at newshelves.com/FAF, or you can email your questions in to info@newshelves.com, and we answer them live as we're able. We do put our replays up on YouTube, and those go up usually on Mondays, and that's just youtube.com/newshelvesbooks. So we have a couple of exciting things today. We have some industry updates that I'll be sharing about, and then we also had some questions come in. So the first thing, I had an email come in asking about what microphone I use when I do webinars or Free Advice Friday. And so there are times I have used just the microphone from my laptop. However, it's not the best. And when I do use it, I make sure that the laptop is very close to me. I have like a stand that I put it on. It's close to me. The microphone is very open. So I do use that occasionally. However, usually I use one of my USB input microphones. So I was going to show you guys the two of those. Now this is a blue snowball, and I really like this. It's got settings so you can make it for 1 to 3. So 1 is if you're really close, and 3 is if you want it to reach out more to the room and pick up more noise. It's got this little stand here. So it just sits on your desk. And when you do the 1 option, it wants to be pretty close. But if you're doing 2 or 3, it can be pretty far away and still catch your voice. It's just going to catch more background noise. This ties into a USB port and it goes right in. I've had this for a really long time and it's still working most of the time. I am going to drop an Amazon. Actually, I'm going to share, you know me, I'm going to share my screen and I will show you what it looks like on Amazon. I do not have an affiliate for this. I get nothing for recommending it, but you guys asked, so I shall tell. So this you can see is normally priced at $49.99. It's currently at $39.99. It does come in different colors. You could get it in white, and I think they even have like teal in different colors occasionally. But so this is an option here, and this is on the cheaper end. So I will take this link and drop it in our chat for anyone who is looking for a microphone. But wait, there's more, and I have more options. So I have the blue snowball and it works fine for me. But if you have ever listened to Audiobooks Made Easy by Derek Doepker, he does not recommend the blue snowball. He thinks it's not the best. And so I had a point where this microphone was not at my house. It was in the office for a couple months and I needed a microphone. So I went and ordered the one that Derek recommended. So this one, I actually have the box. So this one is an Audio Technica. I'm an animal, so I ripped the box like I was. But so it's an Audio Technica. This is the ATR 2100X. And this is the one that Derek recommends. And I do like this one as well. I do think the sound quality is a little bit higher, but it's also more expensive. This one is it was about $100, so it was just a little bit more expensive. It also has a stand, which Keri struggles with, but it's got a stand. It's got it did come with some connections where I could actually put it on I don't know, like an arm that hangs down. Yes, see, you got the audio one. I think we have close to the same one, Tara, and I will show that one as well. Like I said, this one is just a little bit more expensive. It's $99, but it has all of the same basic features. And so you can see right there. And this is the one that Derek recommends for recording audiobooks and things of that nature. So if you're looking at like audiobooks, you're doing more high-tech audio, then I would recommend this one. I'll drop that in here. Look, I dropped links and I dropped them just to myself. Super helpful, right? So this one I just put in was for the Technica, and then this one is the blue snowball. Another really excuse me, another really popular brand is the Blue Yeti. but they, at the time I was looking, were more expensive, so I didn't go with that one. But Blue Yeti is very popular, and Shira is, her husband is an engineer and recommends Shure, Shure, SM7B, but it's like $400. So that's an investment. If you are starting a podcast, if you are doing an audiobook or something like that, that would be something you'd consider. Also, something about the Audio Technica is this comes off. So then you can do karaoke at night when you're feeling, feeling like it's a good time. So anyway, those are the microphones that I have experience with. They've done well with me, and hopefully that helps you guys. I do think that you can use your own sound system if it's occasionally, but the quality difference of having a microphone that's made to block out background noise, that is made to amplify your voice, makes a big difference if you are doing interviews or audiobooks or anything like that. Yeah, so Caroline's saying that she also uses the Audio Technica, I think the AT2020. So those are a couple different options and different price points too, because I know not everyone's like, yeah, I've got $400 to spend on a microphone. I get that. So we've got options there, and hopefully that helps. There we go. We've got some links in there. Awesome. So that was one of the first questions I got in. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about, thank you, Julia, you just put it in there, is our very own Julia Daly has just started a podcast that is for authors. It's authors over 50, and it is to interview and celebrate and talk to authors over 50 who are reaching for their dreams, that are making things happen. So if you would like to be considered for an interview with Julia and you're over 50, if you are 50 years young or slightly above that, then reach out to Julia. You can do that at juliadaly.com. So that there you go, juliadaly.com, so that you can ask her about setting up an interview, and that way you can get in touch. Yeah, I think it's so exciting. I think that I love when we make those connections, and I think Julia actually is working with Holly Shannon, who is the guest that we had on a couple months ago, who was talking about podcasting. So making connections, making life happen. And I'm so excited for you, Julia. And if anyone's looking for interviews, that's a great place to start. I love it. Yeah, Julia, I can't quite be interviewed for you yet, but I'll make it one day. Just keep podcasting. I love it. Yes, networking absolutely works. It does, it does. All right. Answered the microphone question. Another thing that I have been seeing, another thing that I've been seeing and hearing a lot about is sales drops. A lot of people, if you're in Facebook groups, if you are in author groups, a lot of people are talking about they suddenly had sales dip. And I'm in a lot of accounts. I work with a lot of people on their sales, looking at reports and also on their ads. And we noticed a pretty consistent drop. And because I see so many accounts, and I've been hearing about in Facebook groups that people their sales feel like they've dropped in the last couple of weeks, I started asking for dates of when that happened. And I also started looking in the accounts that I can see to see if I saw any dates. And something stood out to me very consistently. The date that sales started dropping, you guys, was February 24th. And so I looked back, what happened on February 24th? February 24th was when Russia invaded Ukraine. And what often happens in marketing, especially with books, is that when anything big hits the news, when something pulls people's mental attention away, book sales drop. And what happened on February 24th was huge. I mean, Russia invaded Ukraine. It was all over the news. Gas prices started to rise everywhere, a lot of unrest and concern. And people were kind of bombarded with news and things like that. And we saw a definite, I mean, I've looked in probably 20 different accounts, and not all of them saw massive drops, but we saw pretty consistently that there was a drop on impressions on ads. We saw drops in clicks on ads, and we also saw drops in sales pretty consistent with that February 24th date. And then slowly we are starting to see those sales come back. So if that happened to you, please don't be concerned. It's very common when something happens in the news and draws people's attention away. So now we're just looking at the comeback to see if those sales come back. But again, it was so widespread that I was like, either someone's reporting is wrong or there's got to be a common denominator. And looking at those dates, it definitely made a difference. Yes, people, well, not only did people kind of disappear, but people were distracted. Facebook was overrun with news articles. If you're doing Facebook ads, people were just distracted and not really, they weren't looking for books to read necessarily. It was just, you know, people are overwhelmed. We need a minute to mentally prepare. It's amazing how quickly mentally people just bounce right back, even though things are still going on. But it's just like what happened in the beginning of COVID. In the beginning of COVID, book sales plummeted, but then they really picked up higher than we've seen in a really long time. So I think there's definitely something there. Anyway, watch now. But if you saw a slight drop, don't panic. KDP reporting, as far as I can tell, is not off or anything along those lines. So I thought that was good for everyone to know. All right, Scott saying, I want my mom to create an audiobook, but she struggles with the recording program. She needs something as simple as the old cassette recorders. Press record to start, press stop to stop. Any thoughts? There are so many different recording programs that you can use, audio recording, and some of them are quite simple. You just have to look and see what kind of system setup you have, and then see what things are reviewed and rated at. I know there's different things for Mac and for PC. Caroline's saying Audacity is great and it's free. We like highly recommended free things. So Audacity is recommended. I checked that out, Scott. See, that's why we have our hive mind, because you all are brilliant. And also, Audacity confuses her. I mean, there may be some more options, but you're going to have to look, and it may be something where you've really got to work just to learn one or two things and go through that process. Julia's saying Simplecast, so maybe that's an option, or that might be Simplecast. I don't know about that one, but I've just looked through, let her look through and see what works for her, because what we may think is fairly easy, if we're all online all the time, may not be as intuitive as we feel it is. So that's an option. Julia, let's start, just so I see so many people excited about Julia's podcast. Yay. I will start in the Free Advice Friday group. I will start a thread for authors over 50, Julia's podcast, and I will put it there so people can put their outreach there, just so we make sure that everyone gets connected. So if you've put it in the chat, that's fine. But if not, reach out to Julia directly, or I'll put in some a thread in the Free Advice Friday Facebook group, and I'll tag Julia in that so she can see them all. All right. The other big, exciting industry news that just was announced on Monday is that Amazon is now allowing traditionally published authors to run ads for their own books through Author Central. This is something that I think is going to be a major market disruptor. So tens of thousands of authors who are published through traditional publishers, and soon I believe hybrid publishers as well, have not had access to Amazon ads. In the past, only the publisher had access to ads. So if you're self-publishing through KDP, you had access to ads. If you had a big seller account, you have access to ads like publishers do. But the average author who was not self-published did not have access to ads. And that changed. Monday, Amazon sent out a notification that you could now go through Author Central, and any book you have claimed in your Author Central account should be eligible for Amazon ads by you. Now, why do I think this is going to be such a big disruptor? A couple of reasons. I think this is going to be a huge disruptor because there are so many more people who can access the advertising market now. Authors who were with big publishers who didn't feel like they were getting the access or the push that they needed can now go on and advertise their books. And that is certainly going to change Amazon advertising. I think it will end up changing how saturated the market is, how many, what part of the market you get, maybe even ad spend. But it's also going to be a really amazing thing for authors who have published and don't feel like they're getting. A lot of publishers will kind of do like a 90-day push. And then if the book's not making them money, they back off. And a lot of authors come to me and say, I want to run Amazon ads, but I don't have access. So I need to work with someone with a large seller account who has access. And now they have access to this now, which is crazy. And so it is certainly going to be interesting to see how that works and how many people take advantage of it. We've seen this growing trend of traditionally published authors being expected to carry more of the marketing responsibilities. Even if with big houses, they do, of course, a marketing launch and they do ads, but it is pretty much expected that the author is going to be online. They're going to be hustling, doing book events and everything like that. So I'll be very interested to see if now that authors have access to Amazon ads, if they will be expected to take on even more marketing responsibility and do that for themselves. Only time will tell. I do think that the Amazon marketplace is growing literally daily. We saw this certainly from 2020 to now. Amazon has risen in popularity like crazy. Currently, I believe the last stats show that Amazon gets 2.6 billion visitors per month. So there are a ton of people on Amazon, a ton of people doing searches and buying books and things like that. And so the market is growing along with the opportunity for advertising. But whenever you add more players, it changes the dynamic. So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. Yes, so what it is right now, and I did speak to a rep, an Amazon rep, and as far as the difference between traditionally published and hybrid, I believe that they are going off of the KDP account. So everyone who had their books up in a KDP account have had access. What they're doing now, and what I was told by a rep, who knows, because we get different stories every time, but what I was told by a rep is that the first books to show up are going to be the traditionally published books that did not go through KDP. HarperCollins books that were put up through publisher accounts, those sorts of books are showing up first in the ad space. Next, they are going to be going through publishers who are hybrid, so pretty much anyone on KDP. And I think that's where it may be a little bit slower, is a lot of hybrid or small presses will use KDP to upload books. And I think it's taking Amazon just a minute more to figure that out. But in the end, I have been told very soon, authors will be able to advertise any book that they have claimed in Author Central. And of course, they verify on Author Central that it is your book. So that is coming. I think it will include hybrid authors or anything along that line. And again, that is opening up a big door for advertising opportunities, which is amazing for authors. It benefits. But again, I think it's going to change the market, and I'll be really interested to follow as that goes along. Yeah, it's absolutely, I think, going to make things crazy as far as cost of click. And also, I think, as Tara is pointing out, does this mean that if the author is running an ad and the publisher is running an ad, are they going to be running ads against each other? Are they going to be driving each other's bids up? I think it's a possibility. So I think it's really important that authors work with the publishers to ensure that they are not doing that. And I think that's something that will definitely happen. Now on Amazon's side, Amazon's going to make a lot of money. It's been talked about that Amazon might make more money through selling ads than selling their products, especially for books. So it's very interesting how this will work. I think for some people, it will be a step up. It will give them opportunities they didn't have before. But for other people, I think it may be a way to just lose more money. I think people will have to move very carefully and cautiously, and they will absolutely need to be in sync with their publisher to make sure that they are not working against each other's. And yes. And so I also wanted to show, excuse me, I wanted to just show you what that looks like. So if we go to Author Central, let's try it again. If we go to Author Central, and we sign in here, when we go here, what does that look like and how do you find it? Well, if you go to the Reports and Marketing tab right here, and you scroll on down, you will now see Amazon ads. Go to the ads console. Now, right now, this is US ads only. I don't know if it's US publishers only, but it's definitely US ads only. So then you can click on the Go to Ads console, and it will take you to your ads right over there. So that is something that is now available. It will confirm, but any books that are in your Author Central, I have confirmed it. I actually confirmed it with Julia. Julia, who has a book that was with a small publisher. That book is in her ad account already. And so it's certainly happening quickly. It is available. And for those who know that their publisher is not going to do ads, it can be awesome. Let's see. And yeah, I think what's happening, why is that happening? Well, like I said, the responsibility of marketing has been put more and more on authors. Authors' platforms, their mailing list has become increasingly more important over the last couple of years. Publishers, as they are looking for books, they're not only looking for great books, they are looking for great marketing partners. They want someone who will get out there and sell themselves. The days of the authors sitting in the back room unknown and writing book after book and not having to do any of the work in publishing or marketing are gone. I don't think those days are ever coming back. And so even though traditional publishing, you do have a publishing partner, you do have someone doing a lot of things for you, it doesn't mean that you can just sit back and rest on your laurels. It means that you still have to market yourself. And we're seeing that all over the place. And now those authors who sell more get more marketing attention. It's kind of that catch-22, that if you don't market yourself, you don't get the attention from the publisher and the budget from the publisher for marketing. And I think what has happened, especially over the last couple of years with COVID and everything go digital, traditional houses had depended so heavily on bookstores, on in-store and in-person events, and on libraries buying physical copies. But the market has changed. Even though bookstores are still relevant and they are still open and people are still visiting, so many people have moved to digital marketing. They've moved to digital books. People who were hardcore paperback readers got used to reading on e-readers and buying online over the last couple of years. And so digital advertising is shifting. What was not, in my opinion, the strongest place for traditional publishers did digital marketing, but I don't think that was their strong suit, not until more recently. They have had to learn through the curve, and I think they're taking more and more advantage of that. That's right. Ernest Hemingway never had to make promo bookmarks or go into a window display with a hot glue gun, making snowman mobiles like I had to at Barnes & Noble. That is right. I mean, it's just a different market. There are more books out. There's more there's more books for readers to choose from. There is more access for publishers to find new talent, and they want to work with someone who's going to work essentially for them. So the market is changing. I think it's pretty crazy. We'll see what happens over the next couple of months, but you know, what is it? It's March 18th. We will come back in June or July, and I bet you that the market will have changed pretty significantly because of these changes. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I think that even as the last couple of years, indie authors using Amazon ads has gone wild, you know, with Brian Cohen's Amazon ad challenges and the education that Amazon has offered for ads in the different courses like Mark Dawson's course and all of that. A lot of indie publishers have started using Amazon ads more, and we have seen that change in the marketplace. Now, indies are selling a lot more. They've got a big cut of the pie right now, but also Amazon ads cost more than they used to a couple years ago. And I think we're going to see that again. I think it's going to turn into who's willing to invest the most, and also who is the best at marketing, in the sense of, and I say this often, marketing is one part logic and smarts and one part gut. And so when people ask me, well, why did you pick that keyword? It felt right. And some people have that instinct, some people have that crazy mind, and some people don't. And I think we're going to see that in Amazon ads. The people who take risks, who maybe go outside of what you would expect a little bit, and who know how to find and market to their audience, are going to be the people who manage to stay on top with ads, which is why I think we should always be finding our comps, knowing our audience. I think that's so important. It's not just comps, it's knowing your audience. I was speaking to an author's agent recently, and I was like, look, this book is a YA book, and so we need to market to the YA audience, but this author also has an audience that read their YA books 10 years ago, and now, though they're not YA anymore, it's a different age demographic, but there's a loyalty. So we need to market to both because there's opportunity with both. So it's going to be that creative marketing. It's going to be looking at the big picture, trying the crazy things. You guys know I love the keyword Spider-Man sneakers for kids' books because it gets attention and it sells books. And it's crazy. It is. Cat food sells mysteries. I know it sounds crazy, and profiling and all those things, but it works. So I think, again, it's that logic, and that this is the process we go through to get to the keywords we need. And then some of just that gut instinct of, if I were reading a cozy mystery, what would be around me? Who would I like? What would I do? What brands would I shop for? Those are all little nuances of marketing that go a little bit deeper. And we're all going to have to dig in and look at those a little bit more. All right, let's see. What is a quick but reliable way to find proofreaders for an Amish novel? Do not have to know anything about the Amish community. I have a review crew of 50, but will members be good proofreaders? Proofread for typos, not edit. If you're looking for a proofreader, you can certainly go to some of your reviewers. Just keep in mind that the reading for a review process is very different than reading for proofreading. When I read for fun, last night, don't do this at home, but I started a book at 10 p.m. and I was done with it by 1 a.m. Yes, I did stay up till 1 a.m. reading, and I don't regret it. But I read a book for pleasure in 3 hours. Wham, bam, done. It was awesome. If I was reading for a proofreader, it's so much slower. If I'm reading to proofread, I am looking to make comments. And so that takes a little bit longer. It takes more intention. The average reader may not even find those things. So may a reviewer be a good proofreader? They might. However, they have to know that they're reading with intention. And so they may not be the best proofreader, but you can find proofreaders on Etsy. I have a proofreader I love that I'm happy to recommend to you. Caroline said she's got a proofreader that's very reasonable. And so there are proofreaders that you can find. It again depends on how much you're looking to pay, how quick your turnaround is, and all of those things. But Readsy is a really good spot. Again, if you email me, I'm happy to make an introduction for a proofreader. And then Caroline said she's got one, which I can grab the info for as well. And it matters. Proofreading absolutely matters because there are those people, those jerks, who will note proof errors and then send them back to the author. I haven't done that in a long time. My name's Keri, and I used to send back proofread errors to authors with really lovely notes about how much I love their book, but I couldn't just let it stand. Sometimes it garnered me like lots of love, and sometimes lots of hate. So I don't do that anymore, but I still note them because I can't help it. All right. Yeah, and Cheryl's got an affordable proofreader as well. So HiveMind, once again, we've got a lot of people saying they've got good proofreaders. I will start a Facebook thread for that as well if anyone wants to publicly share their proofreader and share their name. Oops. I just went off the chat. So many options. And also sometimes your beta readers, your reviewers can be good proofreaders, but you just have to know the people and that they're reading with intention. Are you going to compensate them for the extra time? The thing about when you don't compensate someone for their time and you're asking them to do a job, they usually do not feel the responsibility of having to do that job on a timeline, do it well. It's kind of like, well, if I find something, I'll send it in. And that's not to say they have bad character. It's just, it's asking for a favor and yeah, I guess I'll do it, opposed to this is a job and I'm paying you. And it's just a different mindset, I'd say. All right. I think I've answered most of my questions. I'm going to check my email one more time and check Facebook. But if you have any more questions, drop them in the Q&A. I will check Facebook. Yes, I could do it on, I could do it right on my browser, but I struggle with all my tabs. All right, I think I got that one, We already talked about Goodreads and how to change a cover, so we got that covered. Let me see. Does Overdrive take a percentage when library buys an ebook through draft to digital? Yeah, everyone takes a cut. Absolutely. Everyone takes a cut, whether it be Overdrive, Barnes & Noble. No one's going to sell your book for free. So draft to digital gets paid, and also the retailer, the end retailer, does get paid.